My beloved child, stop right where you are. I know what has been happening inside you. I know the particular darkness you have been living in, not the kind that lifts when the sun comes up, but the kind that follows you into the brightest room, the kind that makes ordinary things feel impossibly heavy, the kind that has made you wonder, in your most honest and exhausted moments, whether the weight will ever actually lift. I know what it is to try to explain this to people who have never experienced it, and to see them reach for words that fall short. I know the loneliness of depression, the way it creates a glass wall between you and the rest of the world, where you can see people moving through their lives, but cannot fully reach them, and they cannot fully reach you. I see all of it, every single layer of it, and I have come to speak into the middle of it today. You did not find this message by accident. I arranged this moment because I have been watching you move through this darkness, and I will not be silent while you do. There are things I need to say to you that the depression has been drowning out. Truths about who you are, about what I think of you, about what is possible for you even now, even here, even in the middle of this. And I need you to hear them. Not because hearing them will make the depression disappear in an instant. I am not going to make you promises I cannot keep, but because truth, when it truly takes root, begins to create something in the human spirit that darkness cannot extinguish. And that is what I am after today. I want to say something first that I need you to receive without deflection. What you are experiencing is real. Depression is not weakness. It is not a lack of faith. It is not ingratitude or selfishness or a character flaw or evidence that you are not truly saved or truly loved by me. It is a real condition that affects real people, including some of the most faithful people who have ever lived. Elijah sat under a juniper tree and asked me to let him die, and I did not rebuke him. I sent an angel with food and water and told him to rest. David wrote about his soul being cast down, about crying all day, about going through valleys so dark he needed to remind himself of my name to keep moving. These were not failures. These were human beings in the grip of something real, and I met them there. And I am meeting you there too. I also want to address something directly, because I know that, for some of you, the depression has gotten dark enough that you have had thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore, of wondering whether those around you would be better off without you, of imagining what it would be like if the exhaustion simply ended. I want to speak to that place with everything I have. Those thoughts are not the truth. They are symptoms of a mind under extreme pressure, not accurate assessments of reality. You are not a burden. Your absence would not make the world better. It would leave a gap that nothing and no one else could fill, because you are irreplaceable. And I am asking you to hold on, to reach out, to let someone in, to not make a permanent decision in the middle of a temporary darkness. I am not finished with your story. Not even close. So stay here with me. I know that even engaging with a message like this takes energy you may not feel you have. I know that hope feels dangerous when depression has robbed you of the ability to imagine things being different. I am not asking you to feel hopeful right now. I am asking you to let me speak, and to let the words land wherever they can land in the condition you are currently in. Even a small opening is enough for my word to begin its work. Even the fact that you are here tells me that something in you has not yet given up, and that something is what I want to reach today. My child, I want to go into the depths of what this season has actually cost you, because depression is one of the most comprehensive thieves a human being can encounter. It does not just steal your joy. It steals things you may not even have words for yet. And I want to name them, because being truly seen in the full scope of your loss is part of how healing begins. Depression steals your sense of self. Over time, the person you were before this darkness descended begins to feel like a stranger, someone you remember but can no longer access. The things you used to enjoy bring no pleasure. The things you used to care about feel distant and irrelevant. The version of yourself that was curious, engaged, capable, joyful, you know that person existed, but you cannot find the path back to them. And the distance between who you are now and who you used to be becomes its own source of grief. I see that grief. I see you mourning the self you have lost to this, and I want you to know, that person is not gone. They are not erased. They are buried under the weight of what you are carrying, and as the weight lifts, they will emerge again. I promise you that. Depression steals your ability to believe in the future. One of its most insidious features is that it takes your capacity for hope and quietly dismantles it. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually, until the future you were once able to imagine with some degree of anticipation becomes a gray and featureless expanse that holds nothing you can look forward to. Plans feel pointless. Dreams feel like a language you used to speak but have forgotten. The idea that things could be genuinely, sustainably different feels not just unlikely but fundamentally implausible. And living without a sense of future is one of the most disorienting and frightening experiences a human being can have. My child, I am the God of your future. And I am telling you that the future I have for you is not gray. It is not featureless. It is real and it is good, and it is waiting for you on the other side of this darkness. Depression steals your relationships. Not always through conflict or dramatic endings, but through the slow withdrawal that the illness produces. You stop reaching out because you do not have the energy. And then you stop reaching out because the silence has gone on so long that resuming it feels impossible. And then the isolation compounds the depression, and the depression deepens the isolation, and the cycle tightens its grip. People who love you may not know how to help. They may say the wrong things not out of cruelty, but out of helplessness. And you may have pulled back from even those who meant well, because the effort of connection felt like more than you had to give. I see that. I see the relational casualties of this season, and I am not done restoring what was lost. Depression steals your relationship with me. This is the loss that perhaps cuts deepest, because it creates a spiritual dimension to the suffering that can feel like abandonment. When the depression is at its worst, I can feel very far away, not present in the way I was in better seasons, not speaking in the ways I used to speak, not accessible in the ways you used to access me. Prayer can feel like speaking into a void. Scripture can feel like words without weight. Worship can feel empty and performative. And if you have been taught that these experiences mean something is spiritually wrong with you, the depression gains an additional weapon: shame about the spiritual dryness itself. My child, I have not gone anywhere. My presence is not contingent on your ability to feel it. And the dryness you are experiencing is not evidence of my absence. It is evidence of the condition you are in, and it will not last forever. I also want to speak to something that many people experiencing depression carry silently: the anger. The anger at me for allowing this. the frustration at a condition that does not respond to effort or willpower or faith, the way you were told things were supposed to respond. The bitterness of watching other people move freely through their lives while you are trapped in this. That anger is real and I can hold it. You do not need to manage it or suppress it or apologize for it in my presence. Bring it to me. All of it. I would rather have your honest, messy, angry prayer than your polished and performed silence. I am big enough for your anger, and I love you too much to want you to carry it alone. I want to speak now to the lies that depression tells, because they are not just sad thoughts, they are specific and strategic accusations against your identity, your worth, and my character, and they deserve to be directly and firmly confronted. Depression is a liar, and naming the lies is one of the first steps toward loosening their grip. The first lie is that this is permanent. That the way you feel right now is the way you will always feel. That there is no version of your life in which this darkness lifts. That the gray has become the permanent color of your existence. My child, this lie exploits the very symptom of depression that makes it most self-reinforcing, the inability to imagine feeling differently. But the inability to imagine something does not make it impossible. There are people walking in the light today who were exactly where you are, who could not have told you with any conviction that things would ever change. And yet they changed. Not always quickly, not always in straight lines, but they changed. The darkness does not have the final word. I do. And my word over your life is light. The second lie is that you are a burden to everyone around you. That the people who love you are exhausted by your condition. That they are staying out of obligation rather than genuine care. That the kindest thing you could do for them is to require less, to need less, to eventually disappear from their lives entirely. This lie is cruel and it is false. The people who love you did not sign up to love a performance. They signed up to love you, and you, in this season, with all of this weight, are still the person they love. Your need is not too great for genuine love to bear. And my love, which never fluctuates, never exhausts, never withdraws in the face of difficulty, is entirely capable of holding the full weight of everything you are carrying. The third lie is that you have done something to deserve this. That the depression is some form of consequence, some spiritual or karmic result of your failures or your choices, or some deficiency in your character. I want to dismantle this lie with the same clarity I used in addressing the shame lie. Suffering is not always punishment. Jesus himself said that the man born blind had not sinned, nor his parents. Job was described as blameless and upright, and he suffered profoundly. The presence of darkness in your life is not evidence of my judgment. It is evidence that you are a human being in a broken world, and that is something I entered myself, in a body, in suffering on a cross, precisely because I refuse to stand at a distance from human pain. The fourth lie is that seeking help, professional help, medical help, therapeutic help, is evidence of weak faith or spiritual failure. That the truly faithful person should be able to overcome this through prayer and scripture alone, and that reaching for other forms of help is somehow a concession, that those things are not enough. My child, I made the human mind. I gave people the ability to study it, to understand it, to develop treatments for when it suffers. Using those treatments is not faithlessness, it is wisdom. I work through medicine. I work through therapy. I work through the careful, trained attention of someone who has dedicated their life to understanding how to help people who are suffering in exactly the way you are suffering. Please, if you have not yet reached for professional help, I am encouraging you to do so. Not instead of me. Alongside me. Let me work through every channel available. The fifth lie is the one depression whispers most quietly and most persistently, that no one would understand. That your specific experience is too internal, too complicated, too dark to be fully communicated to another person, and that any attempt to explain it will result in either judgment or the hollow reassurance of someone who does not really get it. This lie keeps you silent and alone in the very condition that is most dangerous when suffered alone. My child, there are people who understand more than you know. There are communities of people who have been exactly where you are. There are professionals who have spent careers learning to understand what you are experiencing. There is me, who does not just understand intellectually, but who entered human suffering bodily and knows from the inside what it is to be in the darkest of places. You are not alone in this, even though every symptom of depression is designed to make you feel that you are. My beloved, I want to speak now about how I actually show up in the middle of depression, not the way I show up in easier seasons, but the specific way I come to people in darkness. Because if you are waiting for me to show up the way I did in a better season, you may miss the way I am actually present right now. I come differently in the dark. Not less really. Not less powerfully. But differently. And I want to show you what to look for. I come in the small things. In the season of depression, I rarely show up in dramatic, overwhelming encounters that sweep the darkness away in a single moment. I come in the small mercies that interrupt the darkness long enough to remind you that light still exists somewhere. The unexpected phone call from someone who was thinking of you. The moment a piece of music reaches you in a way nothing else has. The morning the sun comes through the window at an angle that makes something in you respond, even briefly. The day the food tastes like something again. These are not coincidences. These are me, coming in the size that you can currently receive, leaving fingerprints of my presence in the small spaces the darkness has not yet completely filled. I come through people. Depression will tell you to isolate, to push people away, to manage the illness alone. But I have specifically designed human community to be one of my primary vehicles of healing. And I often show up most tangibly through the hands and presence of another person. The friend who sits with you without needing you to explain or perform. The counselor who holds your story with care. The community that does not require you to be okay in order to belong. These are not substitutes for my direct presence, they are expressions of it. When you allow another person in, you are often allowing me in, because I move through human love with a consistency and a power that I ask you not to underestimate. I come through your body. I know that in the depths of depression, your body can feel like the enemy, the vehicle of the suffering, the thing that will not cooperate with your desire to feel better. But I created your body as part of the whole system of your well-being, and the physical things, movement, light, rest, nourishment, breath, are not separate from your spiritual healing. They are part of it. I am not asking you to run a marathon or adopt a perfect wellness routine. I am asking you to take one small step toward your body today. A short walk. A glass of water. 5 minutes of sunlight. The smallest physical act of care for the body I gave you is an act of cooperation with the healing I am bringing, and it matters more than you know. I come through truth spoken into the darkness, not necessarily felt immediately, not instantly effective, but real and powerful in a way that accumulates over time. When you speak truth out loud, even when it feels disconnected from your emotional experience, you are doing something that has effects in both the natural and spiritual realm. You are choosing by an act of will to align yourself with what is real, rather than with what the depression is telling you. You are planting seeds that will eventually grow into something you can feel. The gap between what you know to be true and what you currently experience is real and painful. But the knowledge does not become less true because you cannot feel it. And every time you choose to speak it anyway, you are cooperating with the work I am doing beneath the surface. And I come in the silence, in the dark, when you have nothing left and no ability to do anything except exist. In those moments I am closest. I do not require performance from you. Do not require your best faith or your best prayer or your best self. I require only your presence and that you already have. Simply being alive, simply being here, is enough for my presence to be with you. You do not have to do anything to earn my nearness in this season. You simply have to remain and I will do the rest. My beloved child, I want to speak now about what lies on the other side of this darkness. Not to rush you through the healing process, not to minimize the reality of where you are right now, but because I want you to have a destination to orient toward. Because one of depression's most effective tools is the destruction of your ability to see ahead, and I want to restore some of that vision today, not as a fantasy, but as a real and coming reality that I am actively working toward. I want to tell you something about the person who comes out of a season like this. They are not the same person who went in, but not in the way you might fear. They are not smaller, not more broken, not permanently damaged beyond what I can use. They are someone who has been to a place that most people never go and come back, carrying something that cannot be manufactured any other way. A depth of compassion, a refusal to judge people by their surfaces, an understanding of suffering that translates directly into the ability to reach people who are currently where you are. The darkness you have walked through is not just something that happened to you. It is something being worked into you, and what comes out of it is more valuable than you currently have the perspective to see. I see a version of you on the other side of this season that is fully alive again, not the fragile, careful aliveness of someone managing a condition, but the genuine, deep, grateful aliveness of someone who has come back from somewhere dark and knows the value of the light in a way that people who have never lost it simply cannot. The things that used to feel ordinary will feel like gifts. The relationships that survive this season will carry a depth and a tested quality that service-level friendships never have. The faith that emerges from having trusted me in the darkest place will be a faith that nothing can shake, because it has already survived the thing that seemed most likely to destroy it. I want to give you something practical to hold on to in the days ahead, because I do not want this message to be only a spiritual experience that fades when you close it and the darkness reasserts itself. I am asking you to do one thing today that is a small act of resistance against the depression. Tell one person the truth about how you are doing, not the managed version, not the fine version, but the real version. Or make one appointment with a professional who can help. Or take one physical step toward your body. Or speak one true thing out loud about who I say you are, even if you cannot feel it. One thing. one small act of resistance. Because every small act of resistance is a declaration that the darkness does not have the final word, and those declarations accumulate into the turning of a tide. I also want to speak to those of you who love someone in the grip of depression, who are watching from the outside, feeling helpless, not knowing what to say or do. I want to tell you the most important thing you can do. Stay. Show up. Do not let the awkwardness of not knowing what to say keep you away. Do not require them to perform recovery for you. Simply be present consistently without an agenda, without a timeline. Your steady, patient presence is one of the most powerful things I can send into a person's darkness. You may not see the results. You may feel like your presence is not making a difference, but it is. It is the difference between someone walking through the dark alone and someone walking through it knowing that at least one person has chosen not to leave. Stay. My beloved child, I want to speak over you now with everything I have, everything I am, everything I have promised. I speak light into the darkness you are in. Not a flicker, not a temporary reprieve, but a genuine and advancing light that is stronger than any darkness it encounters. I speak life into the places where depression has brought a kind of death. I speak hope into the places where hope has been dismantled piece by piece. I speak my presence, tangible, real, closer than you can feel right now, but no less present for that, into every moment of this battle. And I speak an ending to this season, not on a timeline I can give you in days or weeks, because I do not work that way, but a real and coming ending that is as certain as the dawn that follows the darkest night. You are not forgotten in this darkness. You are not abandoned in it. You are not being punished by it. You are a child of the light temporarily in a dark place, held by the one who is light itself, and who has never, for a single moment, stopped fighting for you. Hold on. Let people in. Let me in. Take the smallest possible step toward the light, even if all you can manage today is simply deciding to stay. That decision, the decision to remain, to not give the darkness this day, is one of the most courageous things a human being can do. And I see it. I honor it. And I am with you in every single moment of it.